Poco M3 Pro 5G review. But before we start, please support us by pressing the like and subscribe buttons, so that we can continue to provide the latest information about gadgets and technology. Also turn on the bell button to get the latest updates. Your support means a lot to us. Thank you. The Poco M3 Pro 5G is yet another phone focused on offering 5G access on a budget. And while it's doubtful many people will be looking for such a thing, the Poco M3 Pro 5G has a lot more to offer than just speedy cellular connectivity. The new Poco M3 Pro 5G has one particularly rich feature set, for an affordable smartphone that is. There is a 6.5 inches 90Hz LCD screen, the Dimensity 700 chip with 4GB or 6GB of RAM, a triple camera with a 48MP primary shooter, and a large 5000 mAh battery capable of 18 watts fast charging. The phone runs on Android 11 with MIUI 12. The connectivity options are abundant, too. There is 5G in everything that came before it. NFC is supported, too. You can use FM radio, and there is even a 3.5mm audio jack. The Poco M3 Pro 5G also offers an IR blaster, and it can be your universal remote. Bluetooth 5.1 and dual-band Wi-Fi are also available. All of this sounds familiar, doesn't it? That's because the Poco M3 Pro 5G is identical to the Redmi Note 10 5G, sans the different rear panel. While the Redmi had a matte plastic back with a small camera island, the Poco has a glossy glass-like rear cover with this massive black accent for the imagers. And that's how you tell those two apart. The Poco M3 Pro 5G sure seems like a decent entry-level smartphone, and probably one of its biggest treats is that it's cheaper than the Redmi Note 10 5G sibling. Let's take a closer look at the specs sheet now. Xiaomi Poco M3 Pro 5G specs at a glance. Body, 161.8 by 75.3 by 8. 9mm, 190 grams, Gorilla Glass 3 front, plastic back, plastic frame. Display, 6.50 inches IPS LCD, 90Hz, 400 nits, taupe, 500 nits, HBM, 1080 by 2400 px resolution, 20:9 aspect ratio, 405p. Chipset, MediaTek MT6833 Dimensity 700 5G, 7nm, octa-core, 2x2. 2 GHz Cortex A76 and 6x2. 0 GHz Cortex A55, Mali G57 MC2. Memory, 64 GB 4 GB RAM, 128 GB 6 GB RAM, UFS 2.2, microSD-XE. OS/software, Android 11, MIUI 12. Rear camera, wide, main, 48MP, f/1.8, 26mm, f/0, 0.8 micrometers, PAF, macro, 2MP, f/2.4, depth, 2MP, f/2.4. Front camera, 8MP, f/2.0, wide. Video capture, rear camera, 1080p at 30 fps, front camera, 1080p at 30 fps. Battery, 5000 mAh, fast charging 18 watts. Miscellaneous, fingerprint reader, side mounted, FM radio, infrared port, 3.5mm jack. Two things we would have liked to see improved on this Poco M3 Pro 5G by looking through its spec sheet. Some splash resistance would have been nice, and maybe the Dimensity 800U would have been the better choice. But at €179, we are still happy with what we get. Unboxing the Poco M3 Pro 5G. The Poco M3 Pro 5G is packed within one of those signature yellow boxes, and you know there is a Pocophone inside even before you lay eyes on the actual branding. The bundle covers the basics and then some. Inside the box, you'll find a 22.5 watts charger and a USB-C to A cable. The Poco M3 Pro 5G also ships with a transparent silicone case with a protective cover over the charging port. This way, it will be exposed to much less pocket lint. The phone also arrives with this thin and cheap screen protector. It is good against scratches but is one giant smudge magnet, and we peeled it off right away. Finally, you also get a bunch of Poco stickers, so you can show your love for Poco wherever you like: laptop, monitor, desk, fridge, and why not your car, right? Design, build, handling. The Poco M3 Pro 5G may be using Redmi Note 10 5G internals, but it looks completely different. Poco has been trying and succeeding to break out of Redmi's looks, and we do like what we've seen so far. The new M3 Pro 5G is no exception. It seems completely different at the back, more premium if you will. While Xiaomi relies on a matte back with cool light effects for the Redmi Note 10 5G, the Poco M3 Pro 5G offers what looks like glass, though it's still plastic. Rear panel, all glossy with a solid color, be it dark gray, yellow, or blue. The camera island stays the same, but it has a completely different accent. There is this partial black strip now that engulfs the imagers, plus a reasonably large Poco insignia. We like Poco's interpretation better, even if the back is one giant fingerprint magnet. The 6.5 inches IPS LCD screen occupies most of the front. It's a 90Hz Full HD panel protected by a flat piece of Gorilla Glass 3. There is a tiny punch hole centered at the top. Here, you can see the 8MP selfie shooter. The earpiece grill is above the screen panel, and next to it is hidden one of the ambient light sensors. There is no notification LED on the Poco M3 Pro 5G. The other ambient light sensor is on the camera setup, next to the flash. And even if the said flash looks like a dual LED one, there is just one bright LED beneath the diffuser. The camera island isn't jutting out that prominently, and that's why it doesn't make the Poco wobble much when lying on a flat surface. The three imagers here are the 48MP primary snapper, the 2MP depth sensor, and the 2MP macro cam. The frame is made of plastic and has the same dark gray paint as the back but with a matte finish, making it quite grippy. It is flattened around the top and bottom, while the sides are a bit curved. The hybrid SIM slot is alone on the left. The right side houses the volume and power keys. The surface of the power/lock button doubles as an always-on fingerprint reader. It's plenty fast and reliable, but if you touch it a lot while taking your phone out of your pocket, you should change its trigger from touch to press and resolve the annoyingly often pin requests. The top of the Poco M3 Pro 5G packs the 3.5mm audio jack, the second mic for stereo audio in videos and noise reduction in calls, as well as the IR blaster. The bottom is where you'd find the USB-C port, the primary microphone, and the loudspeaker. There is no second speaker on the Poco M3 Pro 5G. The phone measures 161.8 by 75.3 by 8.9 mm and weighs 190 grams, exactly as the Redmi Note 10 5G, and 5 grams heavier than the Realme 8 5G. The Poco M3 Pro 5G is of reasonable size and feels great when handled. Thanks to its glass-like back, it also looks more premium than its Redmi counterpart. It is not slippery despite the glossy panel and seems to be a device of a solid build. Fingerprints and smudges stick on the back, but you can wipe them easily with a piece of cloth. The Poco M3 Pro 5G has no ingress protection whatsoever, not even splash resistance of water-sealed ports. And that's the only issue we have with its design and build. No matter the price tag, we think every smartphone should have some basic level of protection. Display. The Poco M3 Pro 5G features a 6.5 inches IPS LCD screen with a small punch hole around the top. The panel has the usual extended 1080p resolution, 2400 by 1080 pixels, resulting in 400p density and 20:9 aspect ratio. A flat Gorilla Glass 3 piece is shielding the display. The Poco M3 Pro 5G display supports a dynamic 90Hz refresh rate, just like the Redmi Note 10 5G. There is no HDR support. MIUI is offering two refresh rate options, high, 90Hz, and standard, 60Hz. The high setting is supposed to be dynamic. It should auto-switch between 30Hz, 50Hz, 60Hz and 90Hz depending on the shown content. The 30Hz support will be arriving at a later date, though. Xiaomi says that UI should be drawn at 90 FPS for scrolling and kept at 50 FPS when static. The same goes for other static content across compatible apps. 60Hz should be used in games and streaming/local video playback, while 30Hz should be possible for compatible 30 FPS videos. Unfortunately, we cannot confirm this as the integrated refresh rate indicator always shows 90Hz, even when static picture is shown. The only exceptions are 60Hz for the file manager, games, and some video apps, Mi Video, Netflix. Having said that, we cannot be sure that the screen is not working as promised. There is a chance that MIUI and Android are miscommunicating things. If we are to bet, we think Xiaomi is or will be offering the promised dynamic refresh rate support, and the issue we are seeing is because of an error or an early firmware build and will be eventually fixed. Xiaomi has listed the screen's expected contrast ratio as 1500 to 1. The promised typical brightness is 400 nits, while the maximum, 500 nits. We've completed our display measurements, and we can confirm all of these numbers. The Poco M3 Pro 5G screen has a maximum brightness of 413 nits in manual mode, but it can light up as bright as 536 nits when the outdoor mode kicks in. These, coupled with the impressively deep black level, make for an excellent contrast of 1475 to 1. The minimum brightness we captured at point white was just 1.3 nit, impressive. MIUI supports 3 different contrast settings for the Poco M3 Pro 5G display, and they all correspond to the sRGB color space. With the automatic contrast set to on, there is a noticeable blue tinge and the colors aren't that accurate, though punchy. The same goes for the saturated option. The standard contrast setting has superb accuracy within the sRGB color space, and we captured an average delta of 1.9 for color accuracy. Finally, the Poco M3 Pro 5G supports Widevine L1 DRM out of the box, and you will be able to enjoy streaming content at the maximum full HD resolution. Battery life: the Poco M3 Pro is powered by a large 5000 mAh battery, and it supports reasonably fast charging at 18 watts. The Poco M3 Pro 5G posted an excellent result in our battery test with a 121 hours endurance rating, the same as the Redmi Note 10 5G, and close to the Realme 8 5G and Realme 7 5G. It did an excellent job across all test scenarios, calls, web browsing, video playback, and demonstrated decent standby performance. Charging speed. Xiaomi is shipping the Poco M3 Pro 5G with the same 22.5 watts charger we saw bundled with the Redmi Note 10 5G. The Poco M3 Pro fast charging maxes out at 18 watts, which means it is overqualified for the job. But if you have other compatible devices, you'd be able to fast charge those with this adapter, too, and you'll need to carry one or a couple of chargers less. The bundled charger takes the Poco M3 Pro 5G 5,000 mAh battery from 0% to 33% in half an hour. That's not exactly fast, but it's enough to last you at least a day. The sound quality is good, too.
Thanks for watching. Drop a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to watch more videos like this.
5G that was good only for midtones, though the Redmi still lacks bass.